Listen up, while you're burning through cash on unprofitable marketing campaigns, watching your competitors steal your patients, Meta, they just handed cash-based clinics the keys to the kingdom. So if you're a telehealth or cash-based business that does not accept insurance, this is gonna break down exactly why you're not converting leads, you're getting no-shows to your appointments, and you're not profitable on your advertising dollars. You see, Meta's new Andromeda AI, it processes 10,000 times more creative combinations than last year. And you see 95% of clinic owners, they have no clue. They're still running outdated strategies from 2018. They haven't even caught on to the strategies I teach and was teaching up until about February of this year. You see, Meta rolled out all of these. They actually have 3 components to this strategy. We're not going to dive into all of those, but there's 10 total types of content that they optimize for. Now, I saved you the 8 hours of reading and researching. I spent 8 hours reading all the white papers from Meta's engineering department, covering all the 3 types of AI systems that they rolled out this year. For those of you that don't know, they invested $60 billion into AI development systems, including what's affecting your advertising dollars. And over the past 12 months, we've been leveraging these exact systems, helping clinics scale to as high as $8 million per month, and 4 other businesses hit 7-figure months. So if you're ready to hit a $500,000 or $1 million month, you're gonna wanna watch this video. Now, by no means is this an income claim. The chance of you hitting that is very unlikely. I'm just showing you what's working right now from big spenders in the space. So in the next few minutes, I'm gonna show you the exact 10 content types that Meta is optimizing and prioritizing for, and how we took one struggling telehealth business from a $650 acquisition cost down to $176 acquisition cost just by making some modifications, which I'm gonna cover in this video. So let's dive right in. So again, Meta, they did a $60 billion investment into AI, and they're gonna continue doing this every year. There's 3 main systems that they rolled out: Lattice, Gem, and Andromeda. In this video, we're gonna focus just on Andromeda because that's the most applicable to you as an advertiser. This is the update that is making or breaking campaigns. We've known about this for a long time now. We've actually been using these strategies, anticipating it, what I would call content first strategies, but it officially hit the accounts in February. And now we've converted everything to what I would call an AI first content strategy. So very similar to what we were doing, just a consolidation on the campaigns. So you first have to understand creative diversification and why it matters. Think of it like a matchmaker. You're on Hinge or some dating profile. You might not be familiar with it. You know, if you're an older generation person, like my parents, these platforms, they don't just show you one person and force you to keep swiping on this one person. You have a diversification of all these people. Well, think of it like that. You have now a creative diversification. The user now gets to decide what they align with. I want you to really pay attention to your phone. Do you think there's some person, as you're going through these videos, do you think there's some person manually pressing which content types you see? No, there's this AI system that's analyzing you and all your user experience. It has tens of thousands of data points about you, and it serves up content that aligns with this. I cover this in a lot of my videos. We've already known this for years, and we've been playing straight into this, but now it's 10,000 times faster and more powerful than before. So just like when you're on a dating app, you want to have a bio and a little bit about you and some pictures about you so that you can match with the right person. Same thing with your creatives. You want to have diversification and have different angles and pockets and hooks that you're taking, different creators, different types of content that you're showcasing that gives the algorithm, the AI, the same AI that's serving you content that you want to see. It's now able to analyze the content that you have and serve that to the person that wants to see that content. I want you to really think about this. Do you like the content that the AI serves you better or the ads that you're seeing? Most of the time, it's the content that you're being suggested on these platforms. They know you better than you. So now what we're doing is we're just giving the AI the ability to choose what content it thinks is more likely. There's 10 types of creatives that Meta is optimizing for. One of them is a founder story. Here's a perfect example. Hey guys, my name is Daniel Walton. I started patient acquisition because I was very passionate about marketing. I really helped any business that, needed marketing help, from e-commerce businesses to friends, startups, all different types of businesses. And then when I finally hired a business coach, he said, Daniel, you need to niche down. What are your skills? What do you know very well? And, back in college, I had worked for 4 years processing skin cancer in high-end cosmetic surgery centers and dermatology offices. So I was already familiar with this space and it was a perfect fit for me. So that's why I decided to niche down on this particular space. For those of you that are wondering, that's an example of a founder story. Face to camera, also known as talking head content. If you own a clinic, what would be great for you would be, you in your lab coat in the clinic, talking to them, providing some form of value. Hey, 5 things you need to know about neurotoxins and which ones are going to be best for you, or 5 misconceptions about neurotoxins. Customer testimonials, these are obvious. A lot of people post them on their feed, but they fail to use them in their creatives. Now, where and when you use this is very important for all of these types of content. That's what we come in and help with. But these are the 10 types. User-generated content, UGC. I have other videos if you're not familiar with UGC or the power of it, where I break down how we're getting businesses to spend 6 figures in profitable ad spend with a single advertisement. UGC is very powerful. It's very top of funnel. It's very relatable and it's very authentic. One of the biggest misconceptions when businesses hire me with UGCs, they're like, oh, it doesn't look as clean as I want. I'm like, yeah, it's supposed to look authentic. That's the whole reason. That's why the clicks go high. That's why it converts very well. So it's not supposed to be this well-polished, high production. It's meant to be somebody pulling out their iPhone and filming their experience raw and authentic. Product demos, also very important. Unboxing videos. Our highest performing ad, it generated over $500,000 to date, was a unboxing video where they pick up the box set of shipment and they unbox everything. We repurposed that ad so many times. We put in different hooks and text overlays and sped it up and changed the music. I mean, we really squeezed the juice out of that ad. We do that with all ads, but it's not always that we get to generate over $500,000 from an ad. I mean, that's the goal with all of them, but you never know. Some of the ads that I think are going to be the best don't end up doing as well as I thought. Some of the ads that I didn't think were going to do that great ended up doing really well. So you never know. That's why we always say test it. Don't ever, come into an ad and have all these judgments before you even launch it. Now, compliance and legal, very different stories. You need to have those dialed in before launching the ads. You don't want to get in trouble. Compliance is the most important thing with us, but don't ever put your own judgments about how the ad looks or whatever until you've actually ran it. Now, there's some ads, obviously, if you're hiring some shitty agency for like less than $3,000, you're probably going to have some really crappy ads. I would definitely be like, yeah, these don't look like anything I've seen on the platform. If it doesn't look like content that would be native to the platform, that's a good indicator if it's going to be a pretty shitty ad and it's going to be a bad time for you, or you're not going to make any money. Features and benefits, outlining, this is great for like static content. Some of the features of your product, us versus them. Again, this is one of the highest performing, most consistent ad types that we like to do. We have proven concepts. So if you are spending and you're not making as much money as you want, I encourage you to knock out that application below and apply to work with me. I am very selective of the businesses I take on, and maybe I don't take you on as a client, but I can help you develop this content, where my team is very skilled. We do this all day for 8 and 9 figure brands. We can do this for you, or maybe I can come in and consult on your business. I do this a lot with like franchisees or bigger players in the space where they're like, hey, Daniel, I really don't want to hire you. We're not going to give you a rev share, but what I want you to do is work with my team, help us use your proven systems, funnels, VSLs, scripts, all of this proven stuff. We'll pay you for it. We know it's going to convert and it's going to streamline the time that we can start making money. So there's a lot of ways that we can work together. Whitelisting content. Think of like an influencer. You hire an influencer, you give them, a trade, maybe you pay them, or you have some back end deal with them based off of how many signups they get. They post it to their feed. Well, whitelisting it is now you getting access to that video on their feed and running it as an ad. It looks like an influencer post. It shows up as their page, not yours. So that's very powerful. It gets a lot of scroll stopping. It's very authentic and it reaches audiences that already know, like, and trust that person. Those are great, very underutilized in this space. And then positioning testing, different brand positioning to see which message resonates the best. Like just overall, like I'll give you an example. We were testing executives. That was a position that we decided the market did very well on. So we did female executives versus male executives. That's a positioning difference. And then AI ads, personalized AI ads. This is really part of the 3-part AI system that Meta rolled out. This is really something you need to know. A lot of Meta marketing pros, if you've ever dealt with them, most of them just tell you really bad things to do. They're gonna really tank your money and not make you more profitable. A lot of the recommendations that they have are wrong, especially when it comes to what AI amplifications to turn on, whether it's audiences or certain creative things that can happen. You need somebody like myself that has already tested that. That's the difference between me and somebody you might hire for much cheaper is they're learning at your expense. You're not paying me to learn what to do. I'm telling you what needs to be done, and I'm charging you the prices that need to be handled, or the prices that need to be paid to get the job done. I'm not learning at your expense. There's a big difference between hiring somebody like me and hiring some of these cheaper agencies is they don't really know these systems, these platforms, the patient psychology, copywriting, funnel building, CRO, all these things, which you only get from doing a lot of it, being very passionate, spending hours a day learning and mastering these subjects. Like how many people do you know spend 8 hours reading AI white papers from an engineering department to its key business stakeholders? Not very many people do that. I'm an college dropout. I was going to school for engineering. So I've always just been very fascinated by this stuff. But these are the 10 types of content that Meta optimizes for. So I broke this down into 3 types of main ICPs. For patient acquisition, these are the 3 types of businesses that we work for. So we're gonna first cover aesthetic clinics. Think of your med spa, cosmetic surgeon. And if you're watching this video and you don't own one of these 3 businesses, I can still help you. About 50% of my clients are not in this particular space. Now you might ask, well, Daniel, why is that? Again, I understand human psychology, copywriting, funnel conversions, all the main skills that you need to dominate. I know how to do that. And then I would say that I can research any market and learn. Like I have no problem spending 8 hours learning a market so that I'm going to dominate. I'm going to understand the market better than you will in a shorter time frame than I've been involved in the business than you have. And that's just why people pay me what they pay me. So I digressed a little bit there. For aesthetics, med spas, funnel strategy, top of funnel. This is going to be people who haven't heard of you before. Think of somebody that's never seen your business. We want them to stop the scroll. That's the goal of top of funnel. So why I became a plastic surgeon, right? They might see this and find interest in it. It's not trying to push a sale. It's just very educational, trust building content. 5 myths about Botox that everybody believes. Anybody who's on the market for Botox, has gotten Botox or considering Botox is gonna probably stop on that type of video. Again, we want the most scroll stopping content, top of funnel. Like if we cast a wide net and we're trying to attract this many people, how do we narrow them down into our funnel? Well, all these educational videos that they can relate to. I tried cool sculpting and here's what happened, right? Very scroll stopping content. Middle of funnel, why I only use these FDA approved fillers, or a product demo. Here's a step-by-step process of what happens when you get on a weight loss medication with our clinic, or here's a step-by-step process of getting a mommy makeover with me. First, you need to have a consultation with my team. We do over the phone consultations at no extra cost. If you have any questions, reach out to us. But in order to sit down with me, I have a busy schedule, 6 weeks booked out. So we do charge a small fee, only $200 to sit down one-on-one with me. 100% of this goes toward the cost of the procedure if you do this, but if not, we don't refund that money to you, just to be clear. And then from there, what we do is we put you in this 3D scanner. It's gonna analyze your body and it's gonna project exactly what you'll look like after we do these types of procedures. And then, generally it's about a 4-week downtime of whatever it is. So you're gonna know this stuff much better than me, but that's the example of the type of content that you'll do. Us versus them videos. So med spa versus a plastic surgery office. What's the difference? Why you should be going to a plastic surgeon for your fillers and not your traditional med spa, or franchise versus, a mom and pop shop like yours. So these are the things that you're going to want to cover in this bottom of funnel. So offer focus. This is what I see most advertisers do wrong, is they only focus 100% of their ad spend on the offer. Discounted this, $99 this, all of these things. We don't even sprinkle that in until these people who have already shown interest in all this content that I just rattled off now. Imagine all these people, they've seen 2, 3, 4 pieces of this content. Now, when we hit them with this bottom of funnel, $99 Botox, think of the difference in client that you're attracting. That's why 95% of your leads don't convert, because now you have this, hey, discount that is all you're running. Now you're getting all these discount shoppers. And guess what happens? This same AI that's looking at the people that are analyzing our ads, well, we're attracting them on different things versus you attracting them on only a discount. It's now saying, okay, this business only wants these discount type shoppers. We don't even show these things until way down in the funnel. So people aren't clicking on it before the discount. The discount or the actual offer itself is what gets them in the door. It makes the sale happen today. Very different structure to how you do that. So that was an example. Telehealth, same thing, right? You're gonna need a top of funnel. This captures the attention, founder story, educational content about how GLP medications actually work. Breaking down what's like, I would just go to Google and simply search like GLP-1, semaglutide, tirzepatide. This would be a great content example of something you could create. And look at what's trending, right? It could be like a Kylie Jenner or Kim Kardashian article about semaglutide, right? So now you're gonna lean into, now you couldn't say their names in an ad, just to be clear, you're gonna get in trouble for that. That's gonna be a bad time if you mentioned one of their celebrity names in an ad. But you can do it in a creative way. Mention something that's trending in the news. For example, back to school shopping. Oh, this is a perfect example, actually. Back to school shopping's in August. So back to school shopping begins. You're going to be busier than ever in a few weeks. And those goals that you had for the summer are already passing away. So you need something that is optimized around your time when these kids come in, when school goes back. And GLP-1 medications are perfect for that because they allow anybody who's a busy mom or busy parent to take control of their diet, their cravings, and lose the weight without having to spend hours and hours with the trainer and hours meal prepping. So if you're going back to school, consider GLP-1s for the busy lifestyle that you're about to enter, right? Something that's just relevant to what's going on right now. Middle of funnel, this is gonna be really building trust. Again, I covered some of these topics. UGC content can sometimes be middle of funnel, testimonial videos, unboxing demonstrations, authority-driven content. We already know this person's interested in GLP. Now, how do we get them to build trust in you? And then bottom of funnel, this is where, hey, discount on a consultation or get a free consultation today. Normally a $200 value. These are the bottom of funnel strategies, or, this weekend only $100 off, or free shipping, things that I like to think of, things that don't devalue you. Free shipping, rushed shipping, processes within a time frame, creating urgency and scarcity without devaluing your brand. Anti-aging and longevity. So think of, if you have like a peptide or hormone clinic, or maybe even like a stem cell, this is a big space. I really like to be in this space. And I have a couple clients that we're doing really well for. So top of funnel, the truth about peptides and what these celebrities aren't telling you. Great hook example, right? That's going to get a lot of top of funnel people. I tried peptides for 3 months. Here's what most people aren't telling you. Boom. It's going to get anybody who's never engaged with your business. Now they're going to stop on your content. Middle of funnel content. And again, think of like what most advertisers do. They never did that video. Your agencies that you're competing against, that are competing with me, they didn't do that video. What'd they do? $99 peptide. So yeah, somebody opts in, but they have no trust in you. They don't know you. They don't want to do business with you. They just got an opt-in. That's why nobody shows to your appointments. That's why your leads don't convert. That's why your cost of acquisition is very high. And there's a lot of other factors that can contribute to those things too. And I'll be able to solve those. But perfect example of what happened. So now we hooked them with, I tried peptides for 3 months. Here's the truth that most people aren't telling you. I'm going to watch that video if I'm on the market for peptides. Middle funnel. So here's how we customize our approach to peptides. First thing we do, we don't even offer any of our services to you until you get a certain amount of tests done. We like to start with a minimum of 50 biomarkers. We can test up to 700 biomarkers. We do VO2 max testing. We do all these other tests, and we make sure exactly what you are, from what you're allergic to, this to that, all these different things. You're gonna then analyze that with one of our expert doctors. They're trained in this. They've actually gone through training on peptides. They're not just selling them because they can and they can prescribe them. These are people who actually know the proper dosing behind the peptides that they're prescribing you. And then from there, well, develop a game plan for you where we retest you every month or every 3 months or 6 months. You know, peptides are generally 3 to 6 months retesting depending on the clinic and doctor. Hormones are generally, you know, a shorter time frame that they want to see test results in. So, and then the bottom of funnel, again, like free NAD, free month of NAD with any peptide membership. You can't do any guarantees. This was all generated by AI, but these are just some examples here. For those of you guys that don't know how I generated this is called Gamma. You guys should be using this. It's an incredible AI tool. Now, some of the positioning by vertical. So telehealth, no insurance, no problem. You want to lean into the positioning angles that your end user wants. Direct pay equals direct access. We just lean into what things we need to overcome head on. We really want to emphasize for telehealth, like the convenience aspect, the accessibility, the lower cost. There's a few other things that, you know, I don't feel comfortable sharing because I help my clients learn what those are so that they can do those things. That's really going to help them accelerate. Anti-aging and longevity. So invest in your future, optimization, concierge level care. These are the top things that we're seeing working right now. And then with aesthetics, it's going to be luxury, right? You want to have that premium experience. Know your exact cost before you book. I see too many med spas just focusing on trending content. It's kind of crazy. Their whole like Instagram strategy is just like, let's do what the other med spas are doing. And they just, it's literally on my feed, one trending video after another trending video. I don't even know why, but you know, I have team members that are following all these clinics, and you know, I just scroll through our feed and I see it, and it's just like, I'm not even making this up. I've seen like 6 back-to-back videos from different med spas of the exact same like trending video. Like I think the Nicki Minaj one or whatever the one is where you wear a heel and you balance on something. Like it's like those things are cool every so often, but if that's your whole strategy, like you're missing so much opportunity. This is why you're not making as much money, and this is why you can't afford somebody like me, because you're caring about trends and virality and reach instead of conversions. So really focus on what's going to get a rich person to buy. Do you think they care that you kept up with the trend from Kim Kardashian? No. So stop listening to your 24-year-old social media manager that's fresh out of college, has zero experience scaling 7, 8, and 9-figure businesses, and listen to somebody like myself that I get fired if I don't make my clients a 200% return on investment in 30 days or less. And I'm going to show you exactly some results that I've done here. So content creation, some of the success stories. So for those of you that are like, oh, well, I want to listen to my 20-year-old or 24-year-old social media manager, I don't understand why. These are real results. Again, if you think of like per dollar spent, you have to invest $1 million in a hedge fund on average to make a good return, like 7 to 8% over a year. That's crazy. I literally get fired in 30 days or less if I don't make my clients results. So this is within 5 days of us taking over this campaign. We got them a 4.6 times return on investment per dollar spent. So 4.65 ROI, or this would be called ROAS, if you're familiar with that term, return on ad spend. And they were previously losing money on ad spend. They had a $652 cost of acquisition. We brought that down to a $176 cost of acquisition. They've had a 400% increase in CTRs, and now their average order value is $1,400. Previously, it was $459. So we didn't just improve the return on ad spend, we decreased their acquisition costs. We improved the amount of clicks that they're getting to their website, increased their order value. So now we're immediately profiting on ad spend. We're getting much more larger ticket orders at the front. Everything has improved. Now this business is in a position to scale. And guess what? I didn't add a single new piece of content. I just simplified what they were doing. You know, when you don't understand how the AI reads your content, what things to do, what things not to do. They had campaigns that were competing against themselves. Like this was actually an easy win. I'll break down an exact video of what we did on this in another case. But you know, if you want to work with us, knock out that application below. The links are there. If you have questions, DM me, drop them below in the chat. I'll answer those questions as well. But Meta's action plan. This is so again from Meta. I had AI just put this together. I can't create presentations this nice without AI. So you want to create like 2 pieces of each of those 10 types of ads. Go back and watch that. And then start with the easiest to produce first. Like don't worry about perfection. Worry about execution. It's so much better for you to pull out your selfie video and film it in some shitty production than to not do it at all, or to wait for perfection, or to take a week to execute. That's one of the biggest red flags for me with my clients is how fast do they execute? If they don't get things done in a timely manner, they're done. I had a client, You know, we were approaching a month from when I take a small percentage down, a deposit to secure their spot, and then they pay majority of the amount once we launch the ad. So I do a significant amount of work out of my own expense. Like their deposit doesn't even cover any of my costs. It's just to secure their spot, know that they're serious about the deal, and then I go to work. We then launch ads. Well, what we need to launch ads, my team, again, moves very fast. We launched a new client in less than 24 hours of them paying me money. That's how fast we can move when the client moves as fast as us. This was almost 4 weeks into the campaign. They had all these excuses. They wanted to wait for all these things. Instead of letting me just immediately take over what they were doing and make money, they were caring about some small amount of money. I could have made them that money back in like a couple of days, just me cleaning up the mess they were already doing. So they slowed the deal down. They were indecisive about all these things. I just wired them their money back and said, I'm not interested in this. You know, you guys take all the money. And I had like literally hard costs that were incurred from that. From my team, you know, I hire top talent, the best in the world, and then all the hard costs that were incurred. So you got to execute fast. So week number 1, just start pumping out content. Don't worry about perfection, just pump out content. Week 2, test the performance across all the funnels, run split tests, monitor the engagement metrics. So this is how you're going to decide which ads to scale, which ones not to. Start scaling the winners, increase the budget, and then develop whitelisting partnerships with these influencers. Immediately start contracting influencers and start whitelisting. And if you don't know how to do this, I can help you. So again, just to recap everything, diversification is very important. You want to model the content from top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel, and then, you know, position the value. You're a premium service. Emphasize that. Don't be a discount service like everybody else and most agencies want you to be. Don't do what most agencies tell you to do. They don't have a real strategy. If they're not talking about things that I'm talking about on my videos, you know, I wouldn't work with them even if you can't afford me. The better opportunity for you is figure out how to launch ads yourself and then let me consult, or, you know, just get in touch with me about something. Tell me what your budget is and I can figure something out that's going to make you more money than most of these agencies will out there. So make sure to subscribe if there was any value. I'm trying to grow this channel. I want to put out a lot more YouTube videos to help you guys, and, you know, drop any comments that you guys have, but let's make some money together.